Hello, Cats and Kittens. Odiwa Jose, Yoshku. Back in the Crisis Corner with the Anatomy of a Cover series. We are on session 8, Intrepid, issue 8. And in the Anatomy of a Cover series, we give a breakdown of the making of a particular cover, especially from my standpoint, as I gave direction for the creation of the cover. And covers to comics, to me, are important. They're the overture to the book that's contained within. They should give you some sense of what you're getting into. The covers that I grew up loving, from back in the 80s, 90s, and whatever. Comic covers, I don't really read American comics that much nowadays, so, whatever. Some of them are just art pieces. They just turn out being art pieces, whatever some dude felt like drawing at any particular time. And they may not really tell the story of what you're about to read, but they look good, so I give them credit for that. Anyway, but again, this is just my breakdown on any particular cover that I had designed. This particular cover was drawn by Bruno Lima. He did a fantastic job. And as is usual, I'm gonna just give a whole, preview of the chapter itself. As you can see, episode 8, Life Goes On. This is the first issue of the second Intrepid story arc, Pandora's Cage. As you can see, wait a minute. Yeah, this is Pandora's Cage, part 1. In the aftermath of the San Miguel incident, life goes on. Just like the title says, life goes on. Life goes on. Joseph Paxson and his allies, Annabella Scorsese, her father Vincent, and Keith Dawson, have parted ways. Unable to make sense of the horrific past year of his life and unwilling to accept Mark Benjamin's offer to lead a new generation of heroes, Paxson resigns his commission as a Guardian officer and in an attempt to find a measure of peace living a normal life. However, peace and normality are not to be had. The most wanted man in the country, Fugitive 212, is on a rampage, leaving havoc in his wake. His agenda unknown. Looming threat, looming in the shadows is an even greater threat, a harbinger of doom that will shatter the concept of peace and security as we know it. Our story continues. So that's that little intro. I try to put a little spice into it. Anyway, this is the first issue of the next story arc, so it has to be a lead in, whatever. I thought that was decent. Anyway, on to the cover. This is one that I liked. I mean, Bruno did a great job on it. The idea here, again, is that the cover should be, first of all, it's a wraparound cover. I don't know why I thought that up, but, for a first issue, that's interesting. Usually your final issue or your big, you reserve the wraparound for like some, big moment or whatever. But to me, this first issue of the second story arc is very relevant in that it's the climax of the origin. As I always said, I've said it previously, Intrepid's origin story is broken into 2 parts. The first meeting between the Intrepid initial members, which is the 4 members, Anna, Joseph, Vincent, and Keith. All that takes part in 7 issues. Then you have the catastrophe, which is Pandora's Cage, which is essentially why they stick together. So how they met, why they stick together. And for the cover, is basically a shout out to the big action set piece of this particular issue, even though it's basically not a wind down from the last. It's a ramp up from it's kind of a wind, part of the wind down from Heroes and Villains, but a ramp up into Pandora's Cage. And the action set piece is the train chase. Fugitive 212, which, spoiler, is John Valiant, the greatest hero of the first heroic age, being hunted by essentially the agency that he created, which is Guardian. And it's kind of messed up. It's like being hunted by your grandchildren. You know what I mean? This is the agency that he was responsible for creating, and now they're hunting him down in his old age. He's an octogenarian. He's about 80 something years old. He got some go for an 80 something year old. You know, they sent soldiers after him, man. Like they sent, you know, the Little Sisters of the Poor. You know, they sent soldiers after this man, and you see in the issue that, you know, these soldiers got all they wanted. John Valiant is a beast. Flat out, no question, he is a monster. In his old age, he has to deal with these fresh, young-faced soldiers, and he deals with them indeed. So the idea here was to, like I said, to basically give you a snapshot of the big action set piece of this coming arc. Now, there's a bit of misdirection here in that you can see getting out of the helicopter what appears to be what's his, oh, wow, I can't remember the cat's name. Thaddeus Payne, the current assistant director or deputy director, I can't remember exactly which, that's a shame. But he's apparently at the site where Valiant is captured, but they never come into contact. You know, it's just what it is. They don't come into contact through the entire issue, although Payne is involved in the chase. The fella to the left, who is actually, I forget his exact rank, but Mason, last name Mason. He's either a lieutenant or a lieutenant colonel or whatever, Mason. He's the guy that heads the chase to capture Valiant, and I don't even think they come into direct contact. So, yeah, that's some I guess in that sense, yeah, there's some, I wouldn't even say misdirection, but, you know, yeah, whatever. There's a little play fast and loose with it. But the point of the matter is this old man is being hunted by people who he's essentially responsible for. And it's a shame, but that's just how it is. The issue itself is still, like I say, it's still kind of a cool down from Pandora's Cage in that action set piece is pretty much the only action that you're going to get in this story, but it's very relevant. And this is a shorter arc. It's only a 5-issue arc. But it sets everything else up. You know, he's very important to the story, and it merges 2 generations. The generation of the first heroic age, 3 generations, to be honest with you. The generation of the first heroic age, the age of Guardians, represented by these soldiers right here, and it's going to merge that together with the beginning of the second heroic age, which will be represented by Paxton, Annabella, Keith, and Vincent. So these 3 are colliding in Pandora's Cage, and this is the beginning. So that's the idea behind the cover. I'll leave it there. So I don't think we did an alt cover, or if we did, I can't remember what it is. But I don't think we did. 9, that's a different issue. I think we got 3 covers for 9, but I have to check on that. 2 at least. But I'll check. I don't think there was a B cover for 8. No, I don't think there was. So this is kind of rare in that sense because we did all covers for just about every issue up until this point. And maybe I ran out of money. I don't know. Anyway, but that's the idea here, and I'll leave it there. We'll continue the Anatomy of a Cover series with issue 9 shortly. And that's about it. Like I said, these are just freestyle, me giving you the impressions how the sausage is made. And that's how this one was made. So appreciate you checking this out. If you got any comments, let me know. And until next time, stay loose.